What's up, guys? Right. So today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna cover everything that I've kind of been taking interest in. We did like a deep dive into all the charts, literally like a couple of things that I haven't traded in a while that I saw a couple of good setups. Decided to share them with you guys. So in what are we gonna be doing? We're gonna be looking at DXY, the dollar index. We're going to be looking at NAS, we're going to be looking at Bitcoin, we're going to be looking at CADJPY, we're going to be looking at AUDUSD, and we're going to be looking at GBP USD, and then we'll have a quick glance at the news. So, guys, those of you who have been following the setups that I've been sharing know that this right here is the bottom for me for the dollar. What you see here is that the dollar is starting to cause accumulation here. So, what you want to do is you want to go to the 4-hour chart firstly, right? So here we can see, right, the market rallied. It came all the way down, and right here, the market failed to make another high, right? That's your first indication. Well, there was a couple before, like here as well. So this here is your accumulation, right? What I'm looking for is, I want the dollar to come down to fill the imbalance. You see where this line is? Sorry, not this line. You see where the edge of this thing is? That's where the imbalance is sitting. That will create a spring. So what's a spring? You're gonna ping downside in the opposite direction of where you want the market to go, and the market's gonna fly up like this, gone, right? So as it stands, the dollar, just guys, please bear in mind, right, the dollar is in a downward momentum. This pullback could very simply be a taking of this liquidity here to the left, a filling of the imbalance, and all the way we tank back down again. So be very cautious about how you go about this trade, right? No, sorry, how you go about analyzing the dollar right now. There's a couple of news events that are also going to affect the movement in the dollar, so we'll discuss that in the end of the video. But in an attempt not to take too long, because there is quite a bit I want to get through, I'm going to do NASDAQ last. Let's have a look at GBP USD, seeing as we're looking at the dollar. Now, what did we suspect on the dollar? We suspect the dollar is going to gain strength, right? Remember, it's Fed interest rate decisions this week coming, so things are going to get very dicey before they get very nice. So let's have a look at GBP USD. So what we notice here is, so guys, just before we get into what I'm seeing and what I suspect is going to happen, you'll see that I have a buy order here. I have a buy setup over here. The only reason I have that buy setup is because this line right here is a filling of the imbalance and a supply zone, a higher up supply zone that I need to pay attention to. So what did I do? If I don't want to be in the trade if it's up here. If it's up here and we're going to sell from up here, like, let me just mark that off here. If we're going to sell from here, I want to sell it from here, right? That's why I have the buy set up over here. So overall, you can see the pound is now on its way up. The sterling has power. There's a whole lot of interest rate decisions coming into play. There's a whole lot of inflationary data coming into play. So we need to be very careful about how we approach this. So on the daily chart, what we see is the pound rallied upside, right? Came all the way up into the current supply zone, and now it's stuck, right? Not stuck, but you know what I mean, though, right? So now what we do is we go look here. We go look at the 4-hour and go see what kind of setups we should be looking for, right? So as you guys can see, market rallied up. We failed to make further highs. Now we're in our supply zone, right? What I do suspect is, no, the market's gonna come up something like this. Bang, up here, up here. It could even go up here. So guys, you see where my stop loss is? This is just above that imbalance. I should actually be over there. My apologies, right? Then we want to rally downside. So I'm not gonna limit order this trade. I'm gonna manually enter it, right? So the market comes up. We see what happens inside of this current supply zone, right? And if it respects, we sell in from this premium zone downside to the imbalance here to the left, right? If the market comes up, assuming it's just going to follow the imbalance, we manually take it from here. And what does that look like? This. That's what that trade would look like, yeah? This is a pretty crunchy one. I like this trade. I'm more than likely going to take this one over. To be honest with you guys, like based on what I'm seeing, yeah, I'd probably take this over NASDAQ. Or not over NASDAQ, I mean longer term now. I would rather trade this long term now, based on what I'm seeing, or like for the week, than to trade NASDAQ on a longer term. I would rather take NAS on the low time frames, but I'm going to run you guys on the long-term time frame so we can have overall directional bias, right? So that's GBP USD. Very exciting trade. It coincides beautifully with what's happening on the dollar, right? So then next what we want to look at is we want to look at the AUD USD. Also phenomenal trade. Now this one, straight sell, right? Straight sell. So what you guys can see is, once again, I'm tracing the imbalance here, right? You see the market rallied upside, and now we're sort of hitting the supply area here. You need, guys, you need to look to your left, right? Go to your daily charts, especially if you're going to trade these higher time frame stuff. You see here, there's an imbalance here, right? So what does that mean for us? Yes, this is the current supply zone, so we'll mark it off, right? I just want you guys to pay attention, because this is something where I notice, not I can't speak for everybody, but for me, I tend to get stopped out if I'm too stubborn to not want to accommodate for a push up to fill the imbalance there. So how am I going to do this? With this specific trade, right? I'm going to do this. I'm going to go up, and I'm going to put it just above this block, just like that. If it stops me out here, now the thing is, I'm more confident in AUD USD dropping than to buy, so I'm not even going to bother showing you a buy setup, right? So this would be the one. If this stops me out, I'm going to get in immediately once it fills that imbalance on this line up here, right? So we'll short him again from here. Oopsie. I will short it. Oh, of course it wants to long. Yeah, right. We'll short him again. We'll pull him nice and tight, and we'll run the exact same move, right? So now you see on a daily, right? What you need to pay attention to here is a little bit of an imbalance here, right? Guys, one very important thing. You see where this is here? It's important that you either close the trade here or you move your stop to break even, right? There are multiple places on this thing, on the H4 chart, for example, that you could do the exact same thing. So let's say this trade takes, right? By the time we get here, you should be at break even. Guys, with news, you don't want to be stuck in like a market that's not going to move, right? The minute we get into this imbalance move to break even, I'm only going to put it over here because I actually want to run a trailing stop loss. So I'm only going to move to break even here because I want to see what happens when we get to this imbalance. But this is going to take a long time to get there. What you guys will notice is I always share longer term stuff on my videos. The reason being is because that directional bias guides you all the way through for 2 weeks. Like you guys will notice, for 2 whole weeks I didn't upload anything, but guess what? My setup spanned out, right? The exception there would be Nasdaq, because I actually missed it, even though the setup panned out. If you guys go refer to my previous videos, right? But as it stands, this is what I'm looking for on AUDUSD. I'm not going to look for the buy just yet, right? I want to see which of these imbalances it expects to go up again. So a smart move would be go look at what's happening on the daily, right? Daily trumps 4 hour trumps H1, you know the drill, right? If you don't feel confident in dropping all the way into the H4, what I would say is just go till here. It's literally that simple. Don't be greedy. Like, I'm being cheeky by coming all the way down here, and that's fine. But by the time I get there, I would have closed off 70% of my trade already, and I would have been at break even. So I'm not losing anything there. So risk management is key here. We have good indication, good exhaustion. I mean, I think I still have an RSI on here. Not that I use it much. Okay? Here we can see on the, was it the 4 hour? Yeah, it's a 4 hour. We have bearish divergence here. Yeah? That's also a nice indicating factor. However, what that indicates to you is we'll get a shoot upside, right? Not like a push, like a mad push or anything. It'll probably be something like this and then down. Or it might take this out here, this liquidity out here. So be cautious when we get here. So if this stops you out, no, don't worry about it. Take it immediately once you get there. Yeah. Then what I want to do is CADJPY. So this one was a little bit tricky for me. Like just overall, it was neither here nor there, right? So this setup is actually based off of a 15-minute chart. I'm not looking. Look, realistically speaking, CAD is on a downward momentum. You can target that. But what I did was, because I don't like that we're in this little thing, like a range, you know, like if I went to daily, sorry, it is 4 hour. If I go to a 4 hour, you see, we're kind of just in this This is very tradable on a low time frame. You know, what I'm taking into consideration, my overall directional bias indicates a sell, right? And I don't necessarily want to be chasing tiny ass imbalances. One thing I want to notice, this little order block here, perfect. Like realistically, guys, if this can stick, right, this is what you're looking for. Now remember, you could very easily limit order this thing, very easily, right? But you also stand a good chance of doing that and it taking you out, right? So what you want to do is you want to see what the market does here. So let's go to the 15-minute chart and have a look at what that looks like. You see here, oopsie, you see here, the market goes. It's now begun to start eating the liquidity here. Guys, very important. Now remember my setup. That's the whole overall idea, but this is actually my setup, right? So here's an imbalance. I'm targeting that imbalance now, right? To the left. What I'd like to do is I'd like to see, guys, what you'll notice is now you see this is liquidity here. This double top, that's liquidity. So I expect a spring, but guess what? There's an imbalance here. So how do you want to approach the trade? There's two ways of doing it, right? The one would be to go up here. So, you can sell from the time it gets up in there. So the market will go up, right, into the imbalance zone and then fall, right? Or I could respect this zone and then fall. This is why I'm going to manually enter the trade. So my setup, regardless of what happens above this level, my setup starts here, right? Market's going to open. I want to see what the markets are doing. I'm accommodating for the imbalance here, right? That was actually fall, but there's a good opportunity for it to spring up here. If that's the only thing now. So now you need to ask yourself, are you going to do this, right? Let it go, let it do its thing, and on its way down, you're going to take it. Or alternatively, I do strongly suspect this is going to happen, right? This here is going to get tested. This supply zone is going to get tested. So what my thoughts are, something like that, right? With the same target, right? Remember, you need to tweak, you need to accommodate for your broker. Don't copy my numbers exactly. Just look at the setup. Remember to do the cross reference with your broker, right? So that's CADJPY. Then we have finally BTC. Now guys, like most of you know, I don't really talk around these. These I talk to my private students about around everything, man. I'm BTC. But recently I've been having a lot of fun trading, and I figured I'd just share a setup with you guys. Yeah? So if we look at BTC, right? This would be a swing trade. Yeah. BTC accumulated, markup, accumulation, and it will begin its markup soon. How are you going to take this trade? I bet that's what you're asking yourself. So firstly, BTC is proper retail trading style. You know, patterns. Look at this. Perfect. Out of the trend line, back on. Perfect, right? What are you looking for here? Firstly, RSI works beautifully here. So you see on the RSI, we have early signs of divergence coming in here. However, remember this could just be accumulation. So be very careful to fall for the trap of a sell, right? With that being said though, let's have a look at H1. Right? So now we see that BTC hasn't really moved out of this whole thing here. Right? So my suspicion is that we'll come test this area up here. Right? Maybe even further up. Let's go to 4 hour. Yeah, maybe even further up. And we'll come test something up here. Is that an imbalance? No? Yeah, there we go. We'll come up till here even maybe. Yeah? Oops. Sorry guys, my screen's super tiny. So this is what we got, right? You see how we're coming up into those zones that I was just showing you guys. So I suspect it's gonna faff around the whole time. And one of two things are gonna happen. Like you see how it's starting to reject there. So what I would do is, right, I would try and short it from here with an ultra tight stop loss. Like this. Literally, no jokes. Right? And run it down into the previous accumulation. Right? Take all the imbalance. This, guys, is phenomenal risk reward. This on a normal lot. Guys, I can't tell you what lot sizes to use because we obviously all don't have the same size accounts. However, understand that if, let's say in a hypothetical world, if this is $10, this is going to be over $100, right? That's essentially how you're going to look at it. Beautiful setup, right? if BTC decides that this is the whole accumulation and we can scale into maybe like an H1 to have a look, right? Maybe it accumulates here and decides to shoot all the way back up again, right? That's totally fine. I'm not going to get in on the buy there though, right? I'm going to I'll show you something on the weekly chart, right? So when am I going to get in on this buy? You see this here? This is called the change of character mark, right? This market can rally up all the way into this imbalance as well, right? So essentially, I'm just chasing this tiny one, and that's why I'm willing to get stopped out. So if we come above this zone, right? So here's a chalk. Let's say it falls this imbalance here, yeah? It goes up, and the market just falls to come fetch everything, test one more time, up, down, and then gone. This is entry, right? You see why I don't want to take the buy. It's just because where we are right now, the year's accumulation, we could easily accumulate a markup. I would, because this is the beginning of a change of character or a potential change of character, I would rather just see if I could catch the sell. If I can't catch the sell, I'll stay out. For those of you who like to be cheeky, right? So with this H1 setup being said, right? Remember, I love playing devil's advocate, guys. With this H1 setup, what I would also look at is something like this. If we break out of this area, right? Let's go to daily quickly. If I will buy only from one above here, then I'll start seeking buys, right? So I've been scalping them on low time frames. Same old tactics the whole time. But for now, I'm just wanting to see if the sell can pan out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, yay me, you know. If you are being cheeky for a buy, if you get stopped out there, you can be very cheeky and do this low time frame shit, right? Put it up here, put this down here, scale all the way down to 15 minutes. Move this over, scale into the 15 minute, yeah. We can chase that. That's actually pretty decent, to be honest with you. You can come in much tighter than that as well. You can do that, if assuming it stops you out. Sorry, it stops you out. You could wait for like a move, downside, upside, test the level. There'll be an order block of sorts in that area, and then fly, right? And then finally, the one we've been waiting for, the Nasdaq, right? So this thing has been extremely interesting, and Khalifa and I have been talking around this chart quite a bit now, right? Where we are right now, right, is dangerous, guys. It's freaking dangerous, right? So what I would like to draw your attention to is the 4-hour chart, right? The same thing here applies here, right? That's now I already chalked you. Those of you who watched the previous videos, you know that's what you change your character, right? So because of my stubbornness, I missed the buy here, I missed the buy here, and I missed it here. Now that's not okay. Like I missed the big, like I'm talking about the long term, and I scalped them because I missed the entry that I wanted. But Nash looks real good for sell now, right? So what are we being cautious of, man? Right? What do we want to see? What do we want to do? What do we want to look at? What, like overall, what do we want? So you see how we came into the current daily supply zone, right? It looks nice on the 4-hour, but c'est la vie. You see how the market rallied there, right? It stopped in its exact same place, right? Equal highs that are now being created. What I suspect is, right, the market will come up, hold the supply, push down, right? And either from here, you can see where my entry is, either from here, push up, yeah, and continue upside because now it tested the accumulation here, right? Or it can fall. My bias based on what I'm going to talk to you guys about next, the news, is sell, right? The overall directional bias for me personally for Nasdaq is buy. However, for this week, based on the fact that the Fed's giving speeches, we have interest rates, we have inflation talks, I would like to see a sell here first. So you will notice there's sentiments that the Fed might rake interest rates again, right? So let's have a look quick, so that I can start ending off the video, right? You see how we have the almost confirmation. So we have the inverted hammer here, right? What I would do is, right, I would actually tell you guys, take this, man. Don't do this. Yes, it's fun. Yes, it's probably gonna go, but this is more feasible, right? So I'm just putting this here because this is something I'm going to be doing, right? I'm going to try and target that, but guys, like I use like a kind of trail stop. So once we get here, stop to break even, right? Even before that, I'll even come in from here, but I mean, I must show you guys in a 4-hour setup. When I get here, break even. When I get here, I've already closed 70% of my position, and I just have a runner that's floating in profits already. I don't want it to come all the way down to this level though. However, one more thing, and this is the last thing on the Nasdaq. Guys, we have equal lows here. Equal lows here. No? Now, that's the quality right there. No? What you need to remember is this equal lows tend to get taken. It doesn't have to, but it tends to get taken. So that's just something for you to take into consideration, right? It validates the sell basically. Now let's play devil's advocate and we say, okay, no, we want to look for, oh yes, there was one more thing for the sell. Here's an imbalance sitting here. This line is an imbalance, right? I actually took the imbalance off of the daily chart. So looking at this now, you could actually get much more cheeky on this one. Yo, that's phenomenal. You could get, wow, because, okay guys, like for someone like Hanifa, for example, I need to talk to a scalper as well, man, right? For someone like Hanifa, this section here is very good for a scalper to go catch short-term buys inside here, should it not keep this. So I'm not going to limit order this one either. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let the market flow. When it flows downward, right, and fills that imbalance and confirms a bearish candle, I'm going to get in and then I'm going to run the move, right? If it stops me out, I will leave it. I will more than likely be cheeky to take the buy up here. I'll show it to you guys in a low time frame now. Right? Take the buy up here and then kind of just, you know, wait for it here. If we can't kill this off, it's done. The NAS is going, it's flying, right? Just remember that, like, we want bullish NAS, but just be careful of this. This is a crucial zone, man. If we can break through here, we're in the Christmas, right? Why did this set up like this? I was looking at all kinds of scenarios on this thing, right? In the event that the buys don't stick, man, right? So you see you got this zones here. If the market rallies in and that imbalance falls and it respects and there's no assuming there's no imbalances afterward, or it's not wanting to go basically, so it goes up into that imbalance and then kind of touches, right, you know, to fall the imbalance that will eventually form below it and then continue upside. It could also just do something like this, go up into that zone, fall the imbalance, range, spring, gone, right? You must be very careful when it comes to this buy, right? If it buys and the Fed speech is coming into play, my recommendation is close that trade before that interest rate decision comes into play, because you could very easily lose that money. As it stands though, like I said, my bias is sell for now, right? Just for now, very short term, guys. This could very easily, with the week that's coming up, this whole thing could very easily be eaten in one go, and this whole thing could very easily be eaten in one go, right? And then I quickly want to go to the news for you guys. This week, what are the important ones we need to look at? We're looking at employment cost index, that you don't have to really pay attention to. CB consumer price confidence, this is soft data, so don't worry too much about it. It is important, but it's not like, oh my word, you know. Then we have ISM manufacturing PMIs, we have job openings, we have crude oil inventories, we have FOMC statement, we have the interest rate decision, we have FOMC press conference, right? Also pay attention to this NZD. I'll probably share another setup with the guys in the free group to kind of do this on my Telegram. And then we have the nice ones. We have initial jobless claims, non-farm productivity. That's pretty interesting because that gives you directional bias for non-farm payrolls, which is good, right? Then we have Friday. Friday's a bit crazy. Friday's NFP. Then we have unemployment rates. We have ISM manufacturing employment. We have a whole boatload of stuff going on here, guys. And that's it for the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment in the sections below. Tell me what you want me to look at. Guys, I'm fully available for you guys. There's a shit ton of setups that I can share with you guys. Talk to me, pass some comments, ask me to look at some charts. Also looking for some opinions about doing live YouTube videos, or live streaming, live trading. We'll be trading everything from VIX to stocks to Nasdaq. It's up to you guys. Let me know. Once again, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Click that subscribe button.